One really cool thing about The Witcher 3, without a doubt, is its world. How alive and beautiful it is for a game that's 9 years old, almost 10 in 2025, is fantastic. It's a super complete world and very beautiful. The graphics, the lighting, the combination of factors that make this world as stunning as it is are incredible. The Witcher 3 has 7 main locations, some larger than others, and one that comes exclusively from a DLC. Today, I'm going to rank them from worst to best, in my opinion, okay? And obviously, there's going to be a lot of bias. The ranking will focus on how beautiful and enjoyable it is to explore each location. I might mention other things, but that's the main point. So, without wasting much more of your time, let's get to it. Okay, this is definitely a location on the map, but compared to some of the others, it's not really a fair comparison. It's super small, mainly because it's just a palace. But it is a magnificent palace, a place where you can truly feel the sense of royalty. Entering and exploring the royal palace of Vizima for the first time feels completely unique. There isn't really another location quite like it. That said, there's not too much to see here aside from how beautiful the palace is, because it is definitely a very beautiful place. It's a highly political place with a lot of history. As for exploration, with a new gen patch, we now have access to 2 armors here. One of them is quite interesting and actually good looking, while the other is a somewhat strange samurai set. Overall, the palace is a very luxurious place with a somewhat heavy atmosphere due to its emperor, Emir, which perfectly reflects the power of the Nilfgaardian Empire. I almost feel bad putting Skellige this low, but then I look above the locations ranked above it and it makes sense in my head. Let me be clear, just because it's lower on the list doesn't mean I don't love Skellige, because I absolutely do. Skellige is the only map in the game that's an island, or rather, a collection of islands. These islands are inspired by the Nordic countries and contain plenty of Norse mythology, with mentions of Freya and even Ragnarok. Skellige is stunning. It's absolutely breathtaking. It feels completely separate from all the other maps. Walking through Skellige, you can feel that the people here are very distant, very different from those on the continent. I think that's part of what gives Skellige that very different atmosphere. The landscapes of these islands are breathtaking, once again. Honestly, just talking about it makes me want to rank Skellige a bit higher, but let's take it slow. It's a peaceful place, in a way, and I think the soundtrack does a lot to enhance these perfectly detailed landscapes. If I were ranking based on the music alone, Skellige would easily be in the top 2. I understand that the mountains are part of what makes Skellige what it is, but they're a bit frustrating. And you have to agree with me. Many of the mountains, while beautiful, can make exploration so much harder than it needs to be. It's also one of the few places you don't feel the effects of war as strongly as in other parts of The Witcher 3. Perhaps that's why it feels so peaceful. The heart of the Isles, the massive central island, is the most beautiful part of Skellige. However, since I have to consider the entirety of the region, the other islands don't contribute as much and can feel somewhat repetitive. And of course, we can't forget Skellige is where you spend the most time on a boat, which isn't exactly the best mechanic on the game. I did say this ranking would be a full of bias. My memories of exploring Skellige aren't the greatest. All those question marks in the water are still my nightmares. I'm still a bit traumatized by that, don't judge me. That said, Skellige has some truly special side quests and exceptionally beautiful locations. It's an almost perfect map, but I won't exaggerate. Soundtrack 10 out of 10. It pains me not to rank it higher, but there are others I simply prefer. The very first place we have the privilege to explore in The Witcher 3. White Orchard ranks just behind Velen for one simple reason: its size. It's incredibly small, almost nothing compared to the other maps, but that's also what makes it so special. White Orchard is easy to explore and incredibly peaceful to walk through, though there are plenty of reminders of the war that passed through here. Beyond that, it's a very straightforward region, with simple, humble folk and a single pastoral village. Of course, there's also the iconic Nilfgaardian garrison, which stands out as a landmark. It's a map that feels peaceful at first, but as you explore, you realize how much history and tragedy it carries. The village, while beautiful, has an undercurrent of sadness, with signs of destruction and the scars left behind by the war. The peaceful nature of White Orchard contrasts with the brutal reality of what really happened here, making it a bit bittersweet. Walking through the fields of forest, you get a glimpse of the calm before the storm. The calm being White Orchard and the storm being Velen. We'll get to that later. And there's something almost nostalgic about it. The soundtrack perfectly complements this quiet, serene map. Even though White Orchard is small, the way it sets the tone for the rest of the game is brilliant. White Orchard might be simple, but that simplicity is its strength. It's a reminder that not every map has to be giant to leave a lasting impression. Velen is the place where, upon arriving, you truly feel like the game has begun. Opening Velen's map and comparing it to White Orchard is a very humbling experience, especially for me, as I initially thought White Orchard was decently large, but Velen completely turns it into a dwarf. The map is filled with undiscovered locations, or as better known, points of interest. Personally, I think it's better to tackle them naturally rather than trying to complete them all at once. This applies to every other map in the game. When you feel a bit burned out from the main story, that's the perfect time to explore these points as you come across them. Now, Velen is fantastic. It's a very distinct location, especially in terms of the atmosphere. It has the heaviest, darkest vibe in the game. A desolate, grim place full of danger and eerie spots. Every village, settlement or cluster of houses feels weighted down by poverty, despair and the aftermath of war, which has left its mark on Velen. And you can see that clearly. Yet, amidst all this darkness, there are also incredibly beautiful places in Velen. Stunning views, especially at sunset, and paired with Velen's hauntingly perfect soundtrack, create some really beautiful moments. Some of the most iconic locations in the game are in Velen: Crow's Perch, the Hangman's Tree, Crookback Bog, Fyke Isle, and many others. One common thread between them is their creepy nature. Walking through Velen can feel unsettling. You pass countless abandoned villages overrun by monsters and spirits, truly creepy places. Yet, on the other side of the coin, there are moments of peace and beauty that break through the gloom. In the end, I adore Velen. We spend so many hours of the game here and it's hard not to see the care and detail put into this map. The atmosphere perfectly conveys the chaos of war, and it's a place that nobody would ever want to be, living up to its name as the No Man's Land. Kaer Morhen is perhaps the most iconic location in The Witcher 3. It serves as the home of the Witchers of the School of the Wolf, and because of this, it's a place with almost no monsters and very few people. There's nothing here except a few abandoned structures, the Witchers, which are the few people, and the fortress itself. This gives Kaer Morhen a massive sense of peace, but it's a peace that comes hand in hand with a profound loneliness. The nature in this map is arguably the most beautiful in the entire game. The sheer amount of trees and vegetation is stunning to behold. It's an area with such a dense concentration of natural beauty, and it feels incredibly organic, as though untouched by the chaos of the world outside. Even the enormous rivers and lakes here are magnificent, offering views that are both very serene and inspiring in some way. There's something about this map that's hard to put into words. It has a unique charm. Despite having so little to explore, it manages to pull you in so effortlessly. But of course, it's impossible to talk about this map without mentioning its main landmark, the Stronghold. The fortress feels like one of the coziest places in the game, evoking memories and a strong nostalgia. It's incredibly detailed from the entrance to every corner you can possibly explore. Even today, Geralt's room with its view remains one of the most beautiful sights in the entire game. Seriously, just look and appreciate how stunning it is. Kaer Morhen's atmosphere is unlike anything else in the game. The vibe when you're here is incredible, calm, reflective, and even a little melancholic. It feels like a paradise, but one that becomes increasingly solitary the longer you stay. But not to end on a bad note, Kaer Morhen is beautiful. Novigrad. one of the most beautiful cities in all of gaming. Novigrad is the only truly massive city in the game, the only one where stepping inside feels like entering a completely different world. It's a bit like the cultural heart of The Witcher 3. In Novigrad we see a bit of everything: poverty, wealth, death, cults, everything, absolutely everything. Novigrad is alive in a way that no other location in the game is. The sheer amount of detail in this city is breathtaking, from the narrow alleys filled with merchants and beggars to the grand buildings in the richer districts. Novigrad feels like a city with history, culture, and life at every corner, with NPCs going about their daily routines, laughing, arguing, or even whispering secrets that make you want to stop and listen. The architecture of Novigrad is stunning. The blend of medieval styles, vibrant colors, gives the city a unique identity. Not that unique since Oxenfurt is also there, but push that aside. And at night, Novigrad becomes one of the most special places in the game. That warm glow of the lanterns reflecting in the cobblestone streets, it feels magical in a way that's hard to describe. What makes Novigrad even more special is how dynamic it is. You can spend hours exploring its streets and still find something new: a hidden alley, a unique NPC, or a beautiful view. The city also plays a crucial role in the story, and many of the most memorable quests take place here. Novigrad is more than just a location, it's more like a living being. Novigrad is definitely one of the most unforgettable cities in all of gaming. Well, I think it's pretty obvious which location would take the top spot. Oh, Toussaint. What a magnificent place. What a magical land. What an incredible map. What a... I'm honestly left speechless when it comes to Toussaint, but I'll try. If Novigrad was a contrast to the rest of The Witcher 3, Toussaint is another world entirely, almost like a completely different game. Toussaint is colorful in a way no other place in the game is. The vibrant colors, the landscapes, it's a location that doesn't even need people to feel alive. The map speaks for itself. I feel such an overwhelming sense of peace walking through the entirety of Toussaint that it's hard to put into words. Listening to that perfect music while taking in the breathtaking views, it's almost impossible to describe the emotions that come to mind. Toussaint, like Novigrad, has its main place, Beauclair. And just look at it, what an astounding place. A game from 2015, okay? Stunning. Beauclair, much like the rest of the map, is breathing with life, full of people going about their daily routines. The level of detail here is also incredible. The architecture is unlike anything else in the game. The brightly colored houses with flowers and vegetation surrounding them are so different from everything else. They're genuinely so cute. Yes, cute and beautiful. Leaving the city for a moment, Corvo Bianco is such a wonderful addition. A home for Geralt, the butler, a stable for Roach, and a Yennefer, or Triss, or no one, okay? We're including all of your choices here. Anyway, Corvo Bianco is such a comfortable, safe place for our Witcher, where we have everything we need. Now, Toussaint isn't just about its beauty, it's the atmosphere, the vibe of being in a place so far from the continent. It makes it feel like a fairy tale land, and for a good reason. The vineyards, the skies, the serene villages make it seem almost too perfect. Fighting monsters here is almost poetic. It's a very stark contrast to the darker, harsher tone of the other maps. Toussaint is the perfect way to end Geralt's journey. It's a celebration of everything that makes The Witcher 3 special. No, actually, stunning visuals, incredible music, deep storytelling, and a world that feels truly alive. Toussaint is that one map that stays with you long after the credits roll, that makes you want to replay the game just to reach that part once again. So, this was my ranking of the maps in The Witcher 3. Honestly, some things may change with time, like in a week I can put Skellige a bit above from where it is. It's my opinions as of today. Thank you for watching, and go see the beautiful worlds of The Witcher 3 once again or for the first time.